Welcome back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the Korean model today. I've had an update from South Korea for May, the month-ahead forecast, and also the 3-monthly forecast. And the 3-monthly forecast takes us to July, can you believe? So into the second half of 2014. Things really getting on now in terms of the year when the long-range charts are beginning to go up into the second half of the year. So I'm going to have a look at all the charts from the South Korean model in a moment. Some very interesting charts coming up, taking us, as I say, through to July. Before I get on with the video though, just going to mention the advertising. There's video ads on my pages at GazWeatherVids.com. If you press play on the video ad, you'll be supporting GazWeatherVids.com. And thanks very much for doing that. Also got the content tabs, which are links to articles. So if there's any article that you're interested in, just click through the link. You'll be able to go off and read the article. At the same time, GazWeather's get a royalty fee on what you're doing. And thanks very much for doing that. So let's get on with the longer range update from South Korea. We'll deal with the month ahead. First of all, these charts are broken down into 10-day periods, so early May, middle May, late May. The early May presumably taking us from the 1st to the 10th. These are sea level pressure anomalies, and for the first sort of 10 days of May, we're looking at low pressure to be sitting to the north of Scotland. We've got high pressure though down to the south and the southeast, and also out in the Atlantic as well. So it's probably more unsettled for the north, less unsettled for the south, although we will bring some bands of rain through at times. I think that ridge of high pressure down across France and central parts of Europe quite influential, so the worst of the conditions would certainly, I think, there be for Scotland and Northern Ireland. Temperatures would probably be near normal too, but rather mild actually in the south. Now, as we get through to the middle part of May, the low pressure sort of sinks southwards then, so it's sitting just to the east of the country. There it is, the high, above average heights for high pressure sort of slipping away and declining to the south and the southeast. And then we've got this ridge of high pressure sitting up over Greenland. That's quite a strong ridge by the look of it, and that extends down into the mid-Atlantic as well. So we're probably looking at a colder, more unsettled type scenario for the middle of May. If that's right, it would turn more unsettled from the north with that trough of low pressure sinking down the North Sea, and it could turn a little bit cooler as well. It could actually be quite chilly through to the middle of May, maybe temperatures going below average. I haven't seen many below average temperatures this year, so you do have to question whether that's right. But certainly on the anomaly anyway, it would go below average, I think, in terms of the temperatures for the middle of May. And then as we get through to the latter part of May, which I assume takes us from around the 20th to the 30th of May, something like that, where we've still got a strong and intense ridge of high pressure up over Greenland, a lot of northern blocking up there. A deep trough of low pressure is out in the Atlantic. Very weak sort of ridge developing over France. So maybe again for the far south and southeast it wouldn't be too bad. You could be largely dry on that sort of scenario with that ridge just close to the south, but I think really this trough of low pressure would be bringing in very unsettled conditions across the country. Winds probably southwesterly, so probably not too cold. With the position of the ridges and the troughs, I think would be bringing in sort of southwesterly winds. It would be reasonably mild, but it would be unsettled, particularly to the north and the west, and the most settled weather would be to the south and the southeast. So overall a rather mixed sort of May being predicted there by the Korean model. The coolest period looks to be the middle of the month, but the early and latter stage is probably reasonably mild, but most unsettled out to the west and to the northwest. So let's have a look at the 3-monthly update from the Korean model. As I say, this will be taking us through to July. The first monthly period obviously is May. We've just looked at it, but this is the actual anomaly stretched out over the month in terms of sea level pressure for May, and we've got the blocking up over Greenland. We've got that trough of low pressure around the north of Scotland, and then we've got those sort of slightly above average heights sitting to the south. So a lot of complications with that. It's difficult to decide which sort of mass would be, which air mass would be really the driver of weather. And I think what we can say, the most unsettled weather with that is in the north and the west. The driest weather would always be to the south and the southeast, and temperatures perhaps coming out, if anything, a little bit above average. Now, as we go to June, look at this. It's not very good for June. On the last 3 monthly update that I did last month in March from this model, the signal for June was pretty poor, and it's still going with that signal. So we've still got lots and lots of blocking up over Greenland, around Iceland, going up into the North Pole, right over the top of the pole. Lots of red there, so that's a strong high pressure. Deep trough of low pressure through the British Isles, and, well, yeah, the trough extends through into central parts of Europe. It extends through from the Atlantic as well. So I've got a very strong jet stream sort of driving those troughs in. I think the jet stream is coming across the Atlantic and coming right through the British Isles, maybe even tracking a little bit to the south, if anything. So if it's right, and I have to emphasise, there's always question marks about these long-range models. They're experimental, they're not to be relied upon. But if it's right, it's going to be a poor June. Temperatures with that, I think, will be coming in below average, and there would be above average rainfall as well. So above average rain, below average temperatures, hardly an inspiring June signal. Do things pick up once we get through to July? Let's have a look and see what it's showing for July. That is the anomaly, and to be honest, it's not great. We've still got lots of red up to the north of the country, around Greenland, stretching out to the north of Scandinavia as well, so still lots of sort of block type conditions up there. The trough of low pressure is weaker. It's going off towards the east, the main part of it, and we've got high pressure down to the southwest around the Azores, where it should be. Also got weak sort of low pressure to the south of the country. Bit of a mess, actually, that. Hard to decipher what is happening, but I think the main sort of driver with it is certainly this blocking up to the north, and it's never a good signal in summer to have blocking around Greenland, around Iceland, to the north of Scandinavia. When you get it, you're always likely to get some sort of trough of low pressure setting up underneath it in the summer, and that can give us very unsettled conditions. Now, as I say, we've got near normal sort of sea level pressure actually for the British Isles ourselves with this. But, so perhaps not too bad, certainly not as dreadful as a signal for June. June really is looking very, very poor on this model, but it's not great. I think it would, it would probably be a relatively cool July, and probably relatively unsettled, but not as bad as June. I think we would have some drier conditions, whereas June, on the basis of that anomaly, could be a real washout. But July, probably some drier conditions, temperatures a little bit better, but hardly great, and probably rather cool, if anything, on the basis of that. So the Korean model certainly not going for a particularly inspiring start to the summer. We can't see what it's showing for August yet. We'll have August next month, actually. So we have a look at the full range of charts from the South Korean model for the whole of the summer next month. So that's going to be very interesting. But certainly June looking very bad on the basis of this model. July not as bad, but not great. So not a particularly inspiring outlook from the South Korean model, I'm afraid. But as I say, it's experimental, it's just for fun. The charts are there, so you might as well use them. But on none of these longer range models, to be serious, can you take the charts particularly seriously. So it's for fun, it's for amusement, it's for interest, but as I always say, don't rely upon any of these charts that you're seeing in any of my longer range updates. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.